Hello, everyone. What is going on? Just Sackpat here, and today I am with Ganpat.
Hello, everyone. Hey.
So today we are going to be looking at Ganpat's latest idea, the We Love Street Football.
Exactly.
So let's get into this then. So what inspired you to do this then, man?
Can you ask the question again?
What inspired you to do this? The We Love Football.
Yeah, when I saw this new contest for Lego Ideas, We Love Sports, I immediately had to think about football, soccer. And when I was a young boy, we always played football on the streets. And, the hard streets, not with any grass or just, tiles and stones. And I was always the keeper. And
Cool.
I just jumped on the street. That's really dangerous, but I did.
Oh,
That was really funny. But the main thing that inspired me was a book from when I was a kid, and there you could see this. Actually, the picture you see now is kind of based on the picture from the book. Unfortunately, I don't have the book here anymore. Maybe it's somewhere in a box. I don't know. But I thought, well, I'm going to do this, make this, recreate this atmosphere from the picture in the book. What was all about football. And the important thing to me was actually, well, we have a lot of Lego, but if we look at the sets, it's all like Western Lego from the West, the rich West, modern world things. This is also a modern world, but it's in the south of the world.
yeah.
And in, let's say, Brazil, this is a very famous scene. Or let's say in Africa, I've been in Africa, and they play football the same way. They do not have all the means, but they can play the sport. And it's on the streets where, let's say, the famous football players like Romario from the past, or who else? Maradona learned to play football. The streets is where it all starts. So
didn't Messi and Pele learn to play on the streets as well?
I think so. I'm not sure about Messi, but could very well be. Yeah. So yeah, that was actually where I got my inspiration from my own experience. First the book, and later on I thought of my own experiences in Africa, and I kind of used the favelas. That's the suburbs of big cities like Rio de Janeiro, as this set. I think it's given Lego a whole new, like, let's say, dimension on a southern atmosphere, not a typical Western atmosphere or a typical English or Dutch football setting. It's real Brazilian or Argentinian look to it.
Epic.
Yeah.
Where's the first photo? Here we go. Could you walk me through every photo then?
Yeah. So I try to give this set a backstory, and that is with a main character, Ricardo, and it's this guy. And actually, there's a funny story behind it, because when I was playing street football, we had a kind of team in our street, and there was one guy who I called Ricardo Mexicano. He doesn't look like this guy, but it's just a name. And when we go to the next picture later on, I can explain it. But as a young guy who plays football, I always dreamt of winning the World Cup. and of course realizing I'm not going to be at the highest level of football. I'm not that good, but always hoping for my country to win the World Cup. That's the biggest dream. Never happened, by the way. We were very close with our team, our national team, but we lost the final in 2010 in South Africa from Spain.
That's good, man.
But this thing is actually the highest prize on the highest level of football, and I thought that one cannot, miss out. But it doesn't belong there. Kind of doesn't belong on the street, but actually it does, because why? Because it starts there. It starts on the street, where those professionals learn their tricks and learn to play how to do this, how to play a good game of soccer. So yeah, he also dreams of the World Cup, and that could be a boy somewhere in the favelas of Brazil, or in Africa, in Malawi or Uganda. They all dream of it. So yeah, that was the first idea that I have with this picture. And here you can see the whole set. It's a field, there's a fence, a wall, and I also have a kind of how to say, there's water running there, and I've included some animals because I like the animals. A cat and a rat, and yeah. And the thing is that they don't have real, let's say, posts. It's just, iron or rusty. How do you call that in English? Those.
What do you mean?
The goals.
Oh, the goalposts.
Yeah, barrels.
Oh, the barrels there.
It's just barrels. It's not. They don't have the money to pay for the real stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the idea. Yeah, Ricardo. So Ricardo is the main character of this whole set, and he has friends. And as I told you about my own youth and my experiences with street football, there was also a guy whose name was Kevin, and I always, and you must like this, called him Kevin Keegan. He's one of the famous football players from England from ages ago.
Oh, cool.
And his name was just Kevin, but because and he was the brother of Ricardo, and Ricardo was Ricardo Mexicano. So his brother asked me, "Do you have a name for me too?" And I was like, "Yes, of course I do, Kevin Keegan, naturally." And this guy had a friend whose name was Donny, and Donny felt like, I want to have a name as well. So I called him Donny Gonzalez. So that is Donny G. It doesn't make sense, but it's just funny, very funny. And the other names were just made up by me. Actually, you have to see the guys in the middle are the main group. They are having those football adventures, but Ricardo has a cousin, and that one is Carlos Vega, and you can see him in the upper.
Right.
Yeah.
The other dude with the afro.
And the little guy. The little guy.
Gan is.
And Gan, that's me.
Yeah.
With the rat, I don't have a rat, but I just think that was really funny. And Salva is actually a dude who is kind of looking after them.
That's nice.
But Carlos Vega, he's based upon a very famous Colombian football player, and that guy is Carlos Valderrama, and he was really famous for the in the national team of Colombia, and he had this big hair, thing. Like this guy. He is one of my favorites from a long time ago. So I kind of, based him upon a real football player. And then you have on the left, in the corner, on the bottom, two guys. George. He is kind of the commentator, and we will come to that later on. But I based him upon a guy I met in Africa, who was also commenting on everything that happened on the field in Malawi. Was in Malawi, and I find that so funny, because it was just playing on the streets, nothing special, just having a game. But this was like I was in the stadium. When you're going to Old Trafford and sitting on the watching the teams playing. It was real. It was as if it were professionals, and they made a whole party of it. And of course, there must be food afterwards.
Yeah.
So that is why I I included this barbecue dude.
Yeah, barbecue dude.
Dunga. Dunga is also a Brazilian name, but he is a kind of little bit based upon Dunga. Dunga was also a Brazilian football player. So, but here he is the barbecue guy, and kind of fan of those guys, helping them out and so on, like a youth worker. He's kind of a youth worker also.
The commentator that you knew in Africa, would they go like over the top and be like, "Oh my god, he just scored! What a goal!" Or was he like chilled out?
Definitely. Yeah, they would. That it's so funny to experience that. I was having the time of my life when I was just watching it. Like, this is Africa. That song from Shakira, "This Time for Africa." That's the whole atmosphere of it. Dancing. Oh, one day, it was a kind of tournament, but there was no real prize. It was just a tournament. But for the whole place, for the whole town, it was the biggest thing that was going on for them. And when they had a match draw, it was just partying. They were dancing, and that's really nice. It was not necessarily about winning. It was about playing and having a good day. And that is what the whole idea of the street football set for me, contains.
That is a good way to do things, really, because obviously in the Premier League there's just so many team rivalries and so many people getting angry, and like there's football fights here and there, and there's people who just get too obsessed with their teams and too obsessed with the rivalries and get really down when their team loses. But I just think people should, obviously it's nice to be competitive, but you shouldn't let it like really get on your nerves if things don't go your way for your team, unless some like bad thing happens, like I don't know, someone gets a penalty that wasn't deserved. But that happens all the times with the top teams in the Premier League. So
yeah, it must be fun. And I think what I'm trying to do with this is actually my own opinions about football. I was really fanatic. I'm a big Ajax fan. Ajax Amsterdam is very famous. And when I was a young guy, I had always I was kind of heartsick when they lost the game or when they did not win the competition. Like, oh no! And it was like, when it was on Sunday, it was the let's say the last match of the year, of the season, and then they didn't win it, and then I went to sleep, and the next morning I was like having a hangover. That's what it was like, really.
You was just really like, oh god, I can't believe this.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but since that, money has become such a big player in this whole enterprise. for me, the joy of football is kind of lost.
Yeah, because you have these players who I'm guessing it's the same in the Netherlands, how they're getting like 35k a week
Mm-mm,
in the top
mm-mm.
league, and they're just given so much money, it's unreal. And then the problem is a lot of these footballers are just given so much money at such a young age that they don't know
Yeah.
what to do with it, and a lot of them just throw it up the wall or gamble loads or drink loads and all that jazz, and it's just no good for them in the long run.
No, indeed, I agree with you. That's not a good thing to handle. And the other thing, you mentioned very bad things that could happen by giving them so much money on such a young age. The other thing is that they got lazy.
Yeah,
Our team has had a lot of critique because of, well, they're playing in the Premier League, or they're playing in Italy or in Spain, the highest competitions of Europe, and then when they're playing for their national team, they do not make any difference because we're not winning the World Cup or the European Championship. We don't. Why is
yeah.
that? We could, but there's no teamwork. There's no. It's. I won't say it's all about the money, but I think I could say that they're already satisfied or something like that.
Well, when it comes to playing with national teams, like there's certain players you can put them in any shirt and they'll play top level. But there's other players who will graft for their team because they think, oh, we've got the team, we're doing well, we're just going to graft. But there's other players who are like, I mean, there's multiple reasons why internationally people might not play well. The first one is they might not get along with the team. They could be with their biggest rival and
Mm-mm.
having to train with them. And also
Yeah.
they might think, well, I don't know about how other countries might feel, but England haven't won since 1966, and
Mm-mm.
I don't know how many times they've come in the final.
Not
Apart
many
from,
times.
yeah, not many. So maybe they're thinking like, oh, we're nowhere near the best team in the world. I mean, the 2018 one we did well. We
Yeah.
came fourth or third.
Yeah, it was a
Uh,
good tournament for you. Yeah.
yeah, and we scored in the first 5 minutes against Croatia, and everyone in the pub was like, yes! And we was going, I watch a lot of MMA and boxing, but I've never been so excited in my life. I was like, I can't believe it. We scored a free kick in the first 5 minutes.
I can imagine that. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Then they scored one goal, and we was like, oh, it's the
Oops.
beginning of the end here. Then they scored another goal, and Croatia were like time wasting and messing about, and it was a bit annoying, but life goes on, as I said
It
earlier.
is.
But the
It
thing
is.
is, I was just going to make one more point quickly.
Yeah, sure.
But like they might think, oh, so it's either they're not used to playing with their team, they're unmotivated because we're England, we're not going to win the World Cup. What's the point? And those are the main two reasons. Or maybe they just don't like having to go abroad and the jet lag, and they get annoyed. I don't know.
No, I don't know, but yeah, what I hope to do with this is that football is a thing to love, and that's why I kind of use this theme. We love sports. It needs to be something you love because it brings the good things up in people, like teamwork, like a game. We almost everyone like games. So yeah, but yeah, that's my idea.
I was going to ask quickly, what about Detective Macias?
Yeah, Mr. Macias is a detective, and it's kind of linked to the World Cup because the World Cup does not belong there. Some people would say because that's not professional football. But this guy has had kind of the assignment to find the lost World Cup.
Oh, cool.
And you can play with it like, oh, someone is looking for the lost World Cup. Have they stolen it or whatever? It's lost, and it's maybe a little wink to or not to Corona because last European Championship was cancelled.
Yeah.
So the cup is kind of lost for that year. Will the World Championship be lost next year? We're not sure. We don't know. We can't look into the future. So the World Cup might be lost somewhere during these rough days.
Yeah. Well, are you ready to go on the next one?
Yes, I am. Well, that's basically an overview of all the the field and what you can do with it. There you have a tree. By the way, the tree, there was also a tree in Africa close to the field. Actually, this whole how it is ordered is based upon what I saw in Africa. The tree, and then later on we can also see one of the commentators, and then you have the barbecue, pardon, in the corner, and some people are trying to join, like the cousin of Ricardo is walking on the street, because I thought it is important to have a street. I can call it street football, but if there's no street, yeah, why would you call it street football?
Yeah.
But street football is broader. It's actually not in the stadium or on a real football field. It could be anywhere.
Oh, that's the barbecue guy. That is he underneath the shelter? Or is he somewhere?
Yeah. It's tent or where he keeps his meat cool, because it's in the south of the world, so it's warm.
Where's your character?
My guy, you can't see him. Yeah, there he is.
There. Oh, cool.
Trying to get past the fence over the bridge.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And here we are.
Yeah, that's also an overview. And then I name all the different parts. You have the street, you have, of course, the field, you have the F base, football base, the barbecue, the tent, and there you see the barbecue dude.
Hey, there we go.
There he is, and the detective.
I love this you've got going on here. I really like the light up stuff.
Yeah, actually, I didn't meant to light the what is it, flask up, but that is what happened when I gave a light to the coals underneath the barbecue. But actually, that's a bottle of oil to sprinkle on the meat.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the alley, and the alley is very important for later on, but that also gives it the atmosphere of a street. It's not in a stadium, it's somewhere in a suburb, and it's a trash. It's just you don't want to walk there. It's
you have
just
a couple of posters,
yeah,
dog, seagull, big bush, and loads of litter. Not fish can. That's cool.
No, I thought that was funny. Just to people throw it, but they all missed out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what can I tell more about it? Well, I can. Well, the field isn't beautiful. It's just a rugged place. And that's what street football is. It's not smooth. It's not, you can break something or you can get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the way it is. When I was in Africa, I rolled over a few times, and a few times I was like, oh no, I don't hope my knee is broken or my flesh is torn from my body. But it's a dangerous game also.
Yeah. Very rough.
Yeah, you can remove parts from it, so
Very
that
nice.
you can place it where you like, or you can build something yourself and put it together. So it makes it a kind of modular building. Yeah.
I do prefer things like this because they're better for displayability. Because not everyone wants like a big, massive thing. Some people want little things to display separately, and it's good for a brick film as well. Because if you have some massive building, it's going to be hard to get the camera around it and all that, and move the figures. But if you can take it apart, you have it right in front of you. You can just do whatever you want.
Exactly, and you also have holes on the side, So you can put it anywhere you want. And the good thing, I think, for people who likes to build their own things, mocks, yeah, they can use it and make. For example, they can also how to say, build a house next to it for, and
Yeah,
and let this be a little football field. It's all possible.
they could
Or you can extend the street.
yeah, exactly. They could recreate the favelas. You never
Yeah,
know.
exactly. Yeah. At first, I wanted to make it bigger, but I didn't have time for that. So I left that out because I had plans for more houses. But that wasn't really, then it would be not, the focus on sports would be fade away. So I didn't do that.
I mean, it is best to make things as doable as possible because if they do get to the 10,000 votes, then Lego will be able to make it more practical. Well, if you have like loads and loads and loads of things in it, they'll probably have to downsize it, or they might downsize the things that. So, say if like you have the field and then you have loads of houses around it, they might downsize the field and just keep the houses or make one house, but instead with the way you've done it, they can see this is what this person's focusing on. It's the football field, loads of different things going on. You've got your character and the other guy and the dude who's looking after him, going about. You've got the dude doing the barbecue. You've got the people playing football. You've got the officer looking for the lost World Cup. So,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I think you're right that if you make it too big, Lego's gonna have to downsize it. Thing is that this is not a set that is going to need 10K. It's a contest, and for this period of time, you have to, gain some comments. And if Lego likes one of these, or a few more, let's say 10 of these sets that have been created, they will put them up for the vote. And if people vote for it the coming month, and the one who gets the most votes will win. And there is also a possibility that if Lego says, "Well, we want to make this, this into a real Lego idea set," then that could happen as well.
yeah, awesome, man. Absolutely awesome. Looking through all these other photos, I don't know if there's loads you can say about the rest of them. This one's quite interesting if you want to talk about this room a bit, because obviously it hasn't come up so far.
Yeah, it's actually their the F base, and they can change clothes and so on. And there is a little mirror that is, broken because they just don't have the money. It's an abandoned house, and they use it as their well, their clubhouse,
Yeah,
kind of. And the tiles are not, they're broken. The glass is removed from the windows. There's even a hole in the side. And the funny thing is that they did put an interesting thing. You see those ribbed, the brown ribbed brick in the entrance?
or this round here, or somewhere else.
No, on the opposite. You see those ridges?
Oh, this. Or
No, you're on it right? No, just,
oh,
it's
this.
it's actually a technic brick that is for how to say, I don't know, for something. Yeah, there.
Oh,
You
this
just,
thing here.
yeah, that one.
Cool.
That is actually to clean their shoes. It's just,
I couldn't really tell what it was. It looks like a bit of a spiked up piece.
I think so. It's for wheels and so on. Just a technic thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really into the Technic Lego, but I used it from that, and I think, oh well, that works. And then you have the hooks. There they can hang up their clothes, and you have a little
Yeah.
um, benches to put their stuff. So yeah, it's just a little detail thing.
The
And
ceiling.
then the
Awesome.
ceiling, a lamp. They do have a lamp, just to have some light in there.
Yeah, makes sense. And yeah, that's it then. So next question. There are a few more questions. I'll just get them up. So, does it have any special features to it?
It does. If you go to the picture from the alley, and that's that one. Yeah. Now that's an alley you don't want to come, especially when it's dark.
Yeah.
So the best place to hide the World Cup is in there. So that's why I also put Detective Macias. He's looking for the World Cup that's hidden, but you can find this hidden thing too by lifting up the cat who's sitting on the doorway, and then you can see the World Cup. It's just a little feature that makes it funny.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and it's like yeah, just a little thing. Also, because football is on its highest level, you win the World Cup, FIFA World Cup. But I thought I'd just include him. It's just fun, but it needs to have a story, and that is that it's lost, and that someone is looking for it, and then you kind of have, as a kid, you could have a little fun playing, looking for this big prize.
Yeah. Any other features, or would you say that's the main one?
Well, that is no. Well, actually, the ball itself is round, so if you want to play football, you can you can use your puppets and play the ball
Yeah.
and even shoot them into between the two barrels. It's small to do that, but you can do that. That's and
Yeah.
of course I included the score.
Oh, yeah.
So you can actually I included all numbers from 0 to 9, so you can change them if you play your game.
Yeah. So, if I'm guessing this would probably be a 12 plus set, wouldn't it? Because there's quite a lot going on. I guess when
Yeah,
you might play with Lego a bit, so there is some good. But anyway, playability, you can talk about that for any set. It doesn't matter what age it is. So
mm-mm.
stuff here. You've got the football game. You've got they can get changed in there. You've got the barbecue stuff going on. You've got him running around trying to find his stuff.
Yeah, that's correct. I think it could also be for a younger age, but I always, I mean, in my kind of Lego ideology is that Lego is for all generations. It shouldn't be limited for adults, to
Yeah,
adults. It should be fun for kids, and building it together. I wish I could, when my son is a bit older, that we could play together with Lego.
yeah. I mean, it does. It does for me. I mean, it depends on the size of the set. I
Mm.
think Lego would make it like a 12 plus. Personally, I'll probably make it an 8 plus because it's yeah. It, there's a lot to it, but it's got good playability, and you can just build one bit at a time.
Yeah,
It's not you have to build the whole thing together.
correct. That's right. And it's big, but it's not how to say a huge house or modular.
Yeah, true. That's a good.
Basically, it's all field.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is what the field surrounds that makes it street football.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So, what do you think you'll add to it in the future, if anything, or is this fully complete for you?
This one for me now is complete. Could be that I include some. I'm not sure. I haven't really thought about it. Maybe I would kind of change the house, the clubhouse a bit, but
Hmm.
that will be it, I think. Because if I add more um, other buildings, as we were talking about it before, that would make it too big.
Yeah, definitely.
and people could, change it themselves as they want to. If they want to have the posts of the goals somewhere else, they can do that as well.
Yeah. I mean, something that is really cool about it, in my opinion, though, Lego usually like having things that are like really colourful and vibrant and a bit unrealistic, but you've kept it realistic to the place that you were at when you played the football and the inspiration from your childhood. You've kept it really realistic with the colouring from what you've told me and the way it looks, and even though it's a bit of a rundown, rough area, the people are still having a good time. They're playing football, they're getting invested. He's still cooking, having a laugh. He's looking around for the cup. So
yeah, true. I wanted to give it the colors from the book that I still have in my mind, and I think I don't have the book, so I can't show it to you. But I think I succeeded in doing so. This for me is South America. This is the south of the world, southern world football, and that is what I wanted to convey with this creation. Yeah,
man, fair play. How long did it take you to do then?
Oh, that's a good question. I think 2 weeks, maybe.
Bloody hell, a lot for 2 weeks, man. A lot of stuff. Are you sort of just used to getting things like being able to get something done like this quickly, or was it because you had more free time because your son hadn't been born yet? Or
That's I think the main. Yeah, my son was not here yet. I still had some time, and we're on lockdown. It's also a thing, of course.
yeah,
So we're at home. I can also work from home. So I did have time to build something like it, and I was thinking I have to do it quickly because I don't have much time before my son's coming. But also I had to finish it before the 4th of February, and so there were kind of few deadlines.
mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, and it was in my mind. When I have the inspiration, I can do it. If I don't have it, I shouldn't do that, because then it's not fun,
You have to be passionate about this sort of stuff, man. There isn't really much game for the creator in this. If they're thinking, "Oh, I'm going to make a set and then I'll be a multi-millionaire," like, well, you said when you came on my podcast, you said they give you a really small amount of the profit or something that is made from a Lego set, really
True.
small amount. So
yeah, 1%. Yeah.
So there's no point in doing it for the money. You've just got to do it because you're passionate, and this shows that it's got a lot of passion put into it.
Yeah, there are prizes, and if you win, if you get the voters, if they all like your creation, then you can win a few Lego Ideas products like the piano or Barracuda Bay, and that is the main prize. But if they really, really are into it, then it could become a real set. But then it must be, to their opinion, very good. So I'm not counting on that one.
Yeah,
but it will be fun to win a set. I don't mind if I lose, of course, but I would, of course, like to win if that's possible. So if this one gets to the next round, I hope everyone would like to give their votes.
Yeah, man. Well, I'll certainly be voting for it, and I'll try and convince some people to vote for it. So
that would be awesome. Great. Yeah.
Would you say this idea is harder than like Asterix the Gaul and the Prince project, or?
That's a good question. It's a whole different world. I mean,
Yeah.
Asterix the Gaul is fantasy. It's from a comic book, and this is real. Although, of course, it's fantasy because the people don't really exist. But this is what is happening in the world. No supernatural powers or it's based upon life in the favelas, life in Africa. So I think it's on you do want to do justice to that world.
Definitely.
So in that sense, it is a bit harder to create. to create the atmosphere that must be right. With Asterix and Obelix, you have your, let's say, your kind of license to be. You can take your creative license with that.
Mm-hmm.
With this, you can do that also, but again, I want to do it justice, and I think that worked out for the good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Final question then. I'm pretty sure I know the answer already.
Oh, right.
Is there a physical copy?
No, there
Fair.
is not a physical copy, because this would be so expensive for me to buy, because the bricks are the bricks. You know, I don't know the real bricks, and I don't have them. I and
Probably a
also the
fortune.
coloring. What you say?
I was just going to say it'd probably be a fortune getting all this off Bricklink.
Oh yeah, it would be. I'm not that rich. That's also yeah. And also the minifigures. You can. They're not impossible, but unfortunately, there is no physical version of it yet. Who knows? Maybe one day.
Fingers crossed one day, man.
Yeah.
Well, I'll just go through every photo couple times quickly just to show you all, again, some awesome stuff, a variety of characters. Oh yeah, I was going to ask, this Ricardo guy, did he get
Yeah.
far in football then? The person who inspired him, like
Did
you,
he?
this guy.
Did he what?
You said you knew like someone called Ricardo in real life, didn't you, when you was young?
Yeah.
Did he get far in football, or was he not bothered as he got older, or?
Well, I have to admit, he played a bit along, but he was not a football player at all. He was just kicking the ball, like kick and rush, and that was it. His brother was better. Ricardo was not that much of a sportsman, but he played along, and that was just fun. It was just.
Did Kevin get far then, or?
I'm not sure. I don't think so. I don't think he was playing football. I met him later on in a pub,
Okay.
but none of those guys that I know of became football players. But I do, and that may be a funny story. When I was, let's say, how old was I? 11 or 10. I was in France, and that was a period that I didn't like football yet.
Okay.
But there was a family, a Dutch family, on that campsite, who was they were from Utrecht. That's the city where I live now, and they had three sons. One was Jeffrey, the other one was Wesley, and then you had Rodney, and there's a trio you won't forget those names. Jeffrey, Wesley, and Rodney. That's you never forget that. And I do remember that this Wesley was training with a ball on a rope with his feet, and doing tricks and so on.
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't into football, but they were. And the Rodney guy was still a baby, and we went to the beach and played, and and years later, when I was how old was I? I don't know. I was 20 something. My mother saw an article in a women's magazine, and it was a woman who was talking about her sons, and those sons were Jeffrey, Wesley, and Rodney. And this Wesley was Wesley Sneijder, and he is one of our most famous football players of all time. And he was indeed the same little guy from back
Who you
then. Yeah. So back in the days, we were friends. So he's the only one that I know. I didn't play football with him, who became a professional football player.
That is awesome, man. That's some legendary football trivia. Well, football info.
Yeah, that was just fun. It was and there was a documentary about him when he was also a young kid. And when I saw the documentary, I was like, yeah, that's the guy I played with. That's the guy I met in France. Yeah.
Fantastic, man. Well, I guess we can wrap up nicely there, everyone. Oh yeah, one last question. As you've got a son now, when do you reckon the next Lego project idea will be? Like in 2 or 3 years, or?
I guess so, because I'm still busy with Asterix, the goal, and this one. I think that's all right for now.
Yeah.
I do have some updates coming for Asterix. I also have one out today. I included Julius Caesar, the Roman emperor.
Oh,
Actually, he
cool.
was more of a general, and I will include some extra figures as well, because fans from Asterix said we are missing those guys, so I'm including them into that project. But to your question, answer to your question is no. I think it will be indeed 2 years from now that I will make something new.
Well, it's fantastic that you made quite a few things in a decent. Well, not like it wasn't a massive space of time or anything. Obviously, the Asterix, the Gaul, then Prince, now this. I mean, it's pretty awesome, really. So, yeah, I guess you
Thanks.
deserve a long break from working at all this stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah, and I'm going to take that break also because my son is of course worth it.
Yeah, one. So. I guess, and the thing is as well, taking a long break from doing stuff like this, it gives you time to recharge creatively. So that should be
Correct. Yeah,
good.
I share your opinion. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, true.
Well, as I say, we can wrap up there nicely. Thanks so much for watching, everyone, and like and subscribe if you enjoyed. And see ya.
Goodbye.